Welcome to the Gorgon Readings. A note of warning. Today's episode includes graphic and explicit content intended for a mature audience. Please be advised. We will be looking at the 4th chapter of Samurai Executioner, a manga written by Kazuo Koike and with art by Gozeki Kojima. The 4th, Toshu Daigongen. The Asaemon walks through the sunny market in the middle of the day with his umbrella. And people comment, why is he walking with an umbrella on a sunny day? Rain? Insanity? They all jest. One reads the lettering on top of it. Yamada. The truth sets in. This is the Decapitator, the samurai executioner himself. He who killed his father, he who executed his first love, speared a man through a wall. Cold, efficient, deadly. A warning to lawbreakers. A mother shuffles her crying child out of the way. The Asaemon walks on, right past the construction awning. As it does, the construction workers see him. They whisper the same fears as the others in the market. They wonder what a man like that looks like. One is about to climb down to see, but the other steadies him. He'll show him the demon's face. As the Asaemon passes below him, he drops a bit of plaster on his umbrella. They all pause, holding their breath, but the Asaemon never breaks his stride. The man that dropped the compound chuckles. He doesn't mind the arrogance. Even the mighty executioner cannot touch him. Now, the beauty of a Japanese sword is in the tempering, known as the yakiba. This is manifested in a pattern known as hamon, seen in the blade as a white glow between the edge and the body of the blade. This occurs as the sword is polished properly hundreds of times. The result on the effectiveness of the blade is a clean cut with minimal friction, which brings us back to why the Asaemon carries an umbrella. 1 is to protect his eyes so he can better assess hamon. But we'll address the second one in a few. The men hoe the ground with a fervor. They work relentlessly until they see it. A hand poking through the dirt. Through the horror, they dig. On this day, they find the badly decomposed body of a young girl. The wild dogs had been restless. The dig is supervised by the police. The body was identified. Keiyo, 9-year-old daughter of Kichibi, reported missing for 2 months. She was one of the 7 girls reported missing. This was the beginning of the Toshu Daigongen affair, which rocked Edo. As they remove the girl, they find something odd. A rag covered in plaster. This is a specialized group of workers in Edo, and it narrows down the suspects significantly. Back in the city, the builders are almost done. As they prepare to wrap up the work, they notice a trowel embedded in the wall. It is a man named Yoshichi's. Good worker, but gets in odd moods. Doesn't drink or flirt. Must be wound up. If only he would settle down. Elsewhere, not far from the city, the child sings as she walks down the road. She carries a baby on her back. The dusk looks peaceful, beautiful, safe. He is watching. He approaches her with the hairpin. It's beautiful. He says he thinks she sings beautifully. If only she could sing again for him. He could give her the pin. She likes the pin. So she does. And when she finishes, he tells her to put the baby on the ground so the hairpin can be placed in her hair. As soon as she does, he kills her. This is the 8th girl. As Yoshichi walks back in the night, he is confronted by the police. They show him his towel, covered in plaster, recovered from the dig. He lies. This proves nothing. There are many like it. The cops don't bite. They have more questions at the station. Once they have him indoors, they press. He denies it. Then they bring the dogs. They were the ones who guided them to Yoshichi in the first place. Seeing no out, he curses. They finally got him. This brings us to the second reason that Asaemon walks with an umbrella, even on sunny days. To perfect his balance in single hand cut, even when he needs to hold an umbrella on a rainy day. And the day Yoshichi was brought before the executioner was during the rainy season. He was being taken to Roya, a holding facility, until punishment could be meted out. Because back then, unlike today, once you were arrested in Edo, the law considered you guilty until you were proven innocent. The holding process went as such. The accused was passed through the front gate to the Kagyaku Doshin, the constable who ran the prison. The papers were checked and the prisoner is let in. The prisoner is strip searched to make sure he takes nothing in his cell. Any money, blade, or fire-making implements is confiscated. But a jail is only as good as its jailers. And today, the jailers took the money. This bought Yoshichi a cursory body check, which means they didn't check the back of his neck. The same one that he, coincidentally, always leaves covered with a towel. Yoshichi is being carried in a palanquin. He takes the men from site to site, showing them where he hid the bodies. And finally, the gruesome affair is solved. This was severe enough that a government official, the Robugyo, was tasked with the beheading. The paperwork is taken to jail, where Yoshichi is informed his time is up. Yet he still remains calm, even mocking. The prisoner is picked up. He is sentenced to rape and murder. As he is set for execution, he asks if the Asaemon is the one executing him, and is told the Asaemon is ill. Yoshichi predicts he'll see him soon enough. The current executioner, raising his sword to strike, is absolutely frozen in horror. When challenged as to why, he shows the officials the back of the criminal's neck. Tattooed on it are the words, Toshu Daigongen. This was the holy name given to the first Tokugawa shogun by the emperor, deifying him. Cutting through it would be tantamount to blasphemy. But allowing this criminal to escape his determined fate would show weakness in the shogun that was unthinkable. And what next? Criminals would tattoo their entire bodies with the name, making them virtually untouchable. This was a true crisis. Yoshichi laughs as he is returned to his cell. As the officials gather to discuss, they can only land on one solution. The Asaemon is the only one cold enough to make the cut. And he's a ronin, a masterless samurai, what we would modernly call freelance. He can be punished without it reflecting negatively on the shogun. It is deemed the only way. He will be summoned. He will not be warned. The officials will observe. As Yoshichi is brought into the yard, the Asaemon is present. He taunts him. This is the entire scenario he predicted. If his head goes, so does the Asaemon's. In his book, a win-win. That'll show him. The Asaemon sees the tattoo. He pauses. Then he strikes. Yoshichi is in shock. The Asaemon, with infinite skill of a butcher's blade, like a surgeon, cut a precise sliver of skin off the neck, removing the entire tattoo, undamaged. He places it in his hand. As he holds the sliver of skin in one hand aloft, the Asaemon exclaims, "The sword protects the gods and banishes evil." And with his other hand, a clean execution. The officials marvel, both at the skill of the Asaemon, the ability, and the discipline. He shows once again that the land is protected by a true guardian. an executioner with equal amount of grit, morality, dignity, and skill. All criminals, beware. Tune in for the next chapter titled The Fifth, Asaji. We will be aiming for a weekly format with this series and are still working on our social media platforms, so please be patient. Until these are up and running, please enjoy the content and see you next time.